U.S. government selling off Bitcoin. Periodically, the U.S. government auctions off Bitcoin that has been seized, mostly use the U.S. Marshals Service. These sales are regulated and transparent, impacting regulatory practices and cryptocurrency markets while providing a substantial amount of funding for government initiatives. Why is the American government selling Bitcoins? We'll focus on a few of its facets today. Number 10. Seizure and auction. Bitcoin is usually seized by the U.S. government when it becomes involved in criminal investigations and legal actions. Cryptocurrency holdings may be seized by authorities when people or organizations are discovered to have participated in illicit activities like drug trafficking, money laundering, fraud, and cybercrimes. The assets are safeguarded until ownership is formally transferred to the government, and these seizures are carried out in accordance with legal frameworks that guarantee due process. The government gets ready to auction off these assets as soon as it obtains legal ownership of the Bitcoin that was confiscated. These auctions are frequently managed by the U.S. Marshals Service, a federal law enforcement organization housed within the Department of Justice. The procedure is carefully designed and carried out to guarantee that it complies with legal requirements and upholds transparency. Usually, large blocks of the seized Bitcoins between hundreds and thousands of Bitcoins per auction are offered for sale. The government hopes to streamline the auction procedure and draw in serious bidders, including institutional investors, with the capacity to handle sizable transactions by offering bulk sales. With the auction format, all eligible participants have an equal chance to bid, and the sale is guaranteed to be transparent and competitive. Number 9. Past auctions. The U.S. Marshals Service has held a number of well-known Bitcoin auctions in the past. In 2014, one of the first and most prominent auctions featured Bitcoin that had been taken from the notorious dark web marketplace Silk Road. The Silk Road auction was noteworthy because it was one of the first significant occasions in which the government sold cryptocurrency. In addition to the substantial amount of Bitcoin sold, roughly 30,000 BTC. The public and media paid close attention to the auction, which demonstrated the government's capacity to manage and get rid of digital assets. The subsequent auctions have maintained a high level of interest. For instance, the U.S. Marshals Service auctioned off 4,041.58 Bitcoins in February 2020, with a value of about $40 million at the time. Usually, these auctions are publicized well in advance, giving prospective bidders time to get ready and take part. Bidders must fulfill specific qualifying requirements, such as providing a deposit to guarantee serious participation, in order to be considered in the competitive sales process. Those who place the highest bids are the winning bidders, and once the payment process is finished, they get the Bitcoins. Every auction is a meticulously planned occasion with the goal of maximizing government revenue while maintaining openness and equity. Number 8. Revenue generation. The U.S. government receives a sizable portion of its revenue from these Bitcoin auctions. The money is placed into the Asset Forfeiture Fund of the Treasury Department, which funds a number of public safety and law enforcement programs. This fund contributes to the funding of initiatives like compensation for crime victims, training for law enforcement, and upkeep and improvement of public safety infrastructure. The government can improve its capacity to combat crime and assist victims by reinvesting the proceeds of criminal activity back into the community and law enforcement. These auctions can bring in a sizable amount of money, especially when the price of Bitcoin is rising. For example, the government made a substantial profit during the Silk Road auctions by selling Bitcoin at a price much below its current market value. Subsequent auctions have yielded even greater returns as the market value of Bitcoin has increased over time. This phenomenon underscores the possibility that cryptocurrency auctions could furnish substantial financial means for governmental initiatives. Number 7. Market impact. Government sales of Bitcoin on a large scale could have an impact on the cryptocurrency market. Price fluctuations may result from the introduction of a sizable amount of Bitcoin into the market, which could alter the supply-demand balance. When a major auction is announced, for instance, investors may engage in anticipatory trading, modifying their positions in anticipation of the auction's potential impact on the price of Bitcoin. Nonetheless, the process's predictability and transparency frequently lessen the impact of these auctions. Auctions are usually announced by the government well in advance, along with specifics regarding the amount of Bitcoin up for grabs and the timetable for the sales. Additionally, by selling Bitcoins in big blocks during structured auctions, abrupt market shocks that could happen if the assets were sold off in smaller, more frequent transactions are avoided. Government Bitcoin auctions can generally affect market dynamics, but they usually do so in a way that is carefully planned and carried out. The process's predictability and transparency aid in maintaining market stability and averting uncontrollable volatility. Number 6. Transparency. A fundamental tenet of the government's strategy for selling Bitcoin that has been seized is transparency. The commitment to an open and equitable auction process comes from the U.S. Marshals Service and other participating agencies. Public notices detailing the specifics of the sale are usually released well in advance of upcoming auctions. The quantity of Bitcoins up for auction, the auction's terms and conditions, participant eligibility requirements, and registration and bid placing instructions are all included in these notices. These auctions' openness contributes to the process's increased credibility. The government makes sure that everyone who is interested has an equal chance to participate by giving clear and thorough information. This openness also helps to prevent fraud and manipulation, as the auction procedures are conducted in a straightforward and highly visible manner. Potential bidders can be confident that the process is fair and that the winning bids reflect true market value. Number 5. Legal and regulatory framework. The U.S. government's sale of Bitcoin that has been seized is conducted within a strict legal and regulatory framework that makes sure everything is done legally and openly. This framework consists of several laws and rules that control financial transactions, auction procedures, and asset forfeiture. Important laws include the Civil Asset Forfeiture Reform Act of 2000, which sought to improve property owner protections and increase openness in the forfeiture process, and the Comprehensive Crime Control Act of 1984, which created the Department of Justice's Asset Forfeiture Program. Guidelines from financial authorities such as the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which offer rules to prevent money laundering and guarantee that all participants in these auctions adhere to anti-money laundering and know your customer requirements, are also included in the regulatory environment. This legal and regulatory structure ensures that the sale of Bitcoin is conducted in a manner that upholds the integrity of the legal system and protects the rights of all parties involved. Number 4. Technological and security measures. To maintain the integrity of the process, handling and auctioning off Bitcoin requires cutting-edge technology and security measures. In order to prevent theft and hacking, the U.S. Marshals Service frequently uses hardware wallets and cold storage solutions in addition to other sophisticated technologies to securely store seized Bitcoin. The auction procedure itself also makes use of safe online platforms that are intended to manage high-value transactions effectively and safely. These platforms guarantee the privacy of bids and the safe transmission of Bitcoin to successful bidders. In order to guard against fraud and guarantee that only bona fide bidders participate, participants in the auctions are also required going through a rigorous verification process, which includes identity checks and financial disclosures. By employing cutting-edge technology and rigorous security protocols, the government ensures that the auction process is both secure and reliable. Number 3. Economic and social implications. There are wider social and economic ramifications to the auctioning off of confiscated Bitcoin. Economically speaking, by momentarily increasing the supply of Bitcoin, these auctions may have an impact on its price and market dynamics. Nonetheless, the openness and format of the auctions frequently mitigate the effect. Socially beneficial public programs like compensation for crime victims and law enforcement efforts are funded in part by the proceeds from these auctions. The government contributes to reducing the detrimental effects of crime and advancing social welfare by reallocating funds obtained from criminal activity to support community and public safety programs. These auctions can also discourage criminal activity by showing that illicit gains can and will be seized and used for public benefit. Number 2. Public perception and trust. An important consideration in the government's handling of Bitcoin seizures is public opinion and confidence. The openness and equity of the auction procedure contribute to the public's growing confidence in the government's capacity to properly handle and dispose of digital assets. Through the open conduct of these auctions and the provision of comprehensive information about the procedure, the government exhibits its dedication to transparency and accountability. This method not only supports the legitimacy of government actions pertaining to asset forfeiture, but it also helps to preserve public confidence in the legal system. Additionally, the community benefits directly from the reinvestment of auction proceeds into public programs, which improves public perception of the government's role in advancing social welfare and justice. Number 1. Future outlook and implications for cryptocurrency regulation. The U.S. government's sale of Bitcoin that it had seized has significant ramifications for how cryptocurrencies will be regulated in the future. Governments everywhere are struggling with how to control and govern these digital assets as cryptocurrency proliferate and are used in more illicit as well as legal activities. The U.S. government can learn a lot about handling seized cryptocurrency in an efficient and transparent manner from its experience with Bitcoin auctions. Future legal frameworks and best practices for handling digital assets can benefit from this experience. Furthermore, if these auctions are successful, other nations might be inspired to follow suit, which would create a more standardized and regulated global cryptocurrency market. Government management experiences and procedures will probably continue to influence the changing regulatory environment surrounding cryptocurrency. In conclusion, these auctions not only generate revenue but also play a crucial role in shaping the future of cryptocurrency regulation and market dynamics. For more interesting videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave thumbs up.